Stop procrastinating.
And start planning. How many of you guys have had this exact same conversation before your practice?
Hello.
Dukester, what's cooking?
What's up, Coach Steve? What's happening?
Not much, just checking in. What do we got going on for our practice plan tonight?
You know the usual. I got my bucket of balls. We'll take some swings. We'll take some ground balls. And then we'll have a game. We'll have a scrimmage.
We can't do that. It's the same thing we did last week.
That's true. We did. What do you think we should do?
I don't know. I feel like we got to go in a little bit more prepared. Let's try to create a practice plan right now. Start with how many guys do we have? How many players are showing up?
It looks like we have all 12. The whole team's there. We have all 12 guys.
Perfect. So we got all 12. Let's talk resources. What kind of equipment do we have?
I got a bucket of balls. That's it.
All right, so you got baseballs. I got smush balls. I'll bring the cones. I'll bring tees. I'll bring the extra drop bases, and I'll bring a bow net just in case. Area, what kind of space are we working with?
We're just going to use the baseball field like we always do.
Yeah, but do they have batting cages or anything? Or bullpen mounds?
They do, actually. They have a batting cage on the left, and they also have a bullpen mound, too.
All right, perfect. So that's much better than just using the field. Coaches, is it just going to be me and you?
Just me and you, because Mikey's dad can't make it because he's got to work late today, so it's just the two of us.
All right, so we'll get some stations going. We can break them up into 2 groups of 6. This way we get 6 at a time. Time now. What kind of time are we working with?
You know what I always say, however long it takes to get all 3 of those things done. It could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be 3 hours.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll draw up the plan, and I think we shoot for 90 minutes. We'll create stations, we'll keep them moving. If we're there for 3 hours, the kids are going to lose focus. It's going to be miserable. Let's talk improvement. You know, what's going to be our focus? I know we struggled last week on first and third plays. We really struggled with pop fly communication. Can you think of anything else that we need to improve on today?
I think we really need to work on some rundowns, well, because we did a really good job with the pickoffs, but then we got stuck in a couple of rundowns and we just couldn't execute them. So I think rundowns are good. And also, the kids were taking so many first pitch strikes. I think we need to really maybe start with a 1-1 count, have the pitchers throw fastballs, and just force them to get used to attacking the ball early.
Got it. All right, now let's talk collaboration. I think we're going to have to work together to make this thing run smooth tonight. Any ideas on stations that maybe the kids can run for themselves? This way we're not strapped too thin?
I think that's awesome. I think that some of the things that they can do is they can work on their pickoff moves together on the side while I take some of the guys and work on some of the ground ball stuff that we need to work on. And you can take some of the hitters in the batting cages. So I think that, by doing it that way, it'll really be able to make it to where you and I only have 2 to 3 kids at a time, and the kids can manage a bunch of the stations on their own.
Perfect. Last but not least, let's roll with effort today. All right, I think we got to have a word of the day. I think showing up, and kind of just blindly going through practice isn't going to work for anybody. So I say we focus on effort. We make sure we include that as the word of the day. This way they know when we get there and we're doing our talk in the beginning, effort is going to be our main focus for the day. We'll touch on it throughout the stations, and I think we'll be good to go.
I think that game plan sounds way better than just hitting a few ground balls, taking a few swings, and having a scrimmage. Let's go plan.
I agree. I'll see you in a little bit. Coaches, how many times have you had that same interaction with one of your assistant coaches? Or showing up to the field with no plan, no idea what you're doing, and you're kind of looking at each other right before practice while the team's warming up saying, what should we do today at practice? We've done it before, and that is not the way to go.
Coaches, it's time to kick your coaching in high gear with our pre-made baseball practice plan. It's completely free and ready for you to hit the field with confidence. And if you want to create your own practice plan using our framework, grab our customizable blank template. Plus, we're giving you a sneak peek into our book, Taking on the Title of Coach, filled with game-changing tips. Click the link in the description to get it all free right now. Watch as we show you in this video how to make the most of practice planning, one of the most important aspects of successful coaching. Coaches, we need to make sure that we're prepared with all the things on our chart. Look at the acronym practice, start with the P and go all the way down to the E and make sure you have everything you need to run a great practice. P, how many players are going to be at practice? Do you have the whole team? Do you only have 8 guys? That's very important. R is for resources. What resources do you have? A bucket of balls. Do you have a tee? Do you have wiffle balls? Do you have smush balls? R is for resources. A, what area do you have? Do you just have an infield? Do you have a whole field? Do you have batting cages? Do you have access to a pitching mound? That's very important. C is for coaches. How many coaches do you have? This will help you divide the kids into different stations. Make sure you talk to the coaches so you know how many coaches are going to be at practice. T is for time. How much time do you have? Do you want your practice to be an hour and a half, 2 hours? That's very important in designing your practice plan. I is for improvement. What do you want to improve on? What do you want to work on? More hitting, more fielding, maybe base running, game strategies. So I is for improvement. C is for collaboration. We have to make sure that we collaborate with everybody on the team because there's going to be times where there's not that many coaches and we're going to have players working on different stations. So we all have to make sure that we collaborate to make it the best practice. E is for effort. Make sure that you put effort in. We also want to make sure that we have a word of the day. And E, it could be E for effort. It could be hustle. It could be resilience, determination. So make sure you have a word of the day. So that word practice as your acronym is your guideline and blueprint for dominating your next practice.
We know that practice planning comes with its own set of hurdles, like juggling limited field availability, adapting to weather changes, working within field size constraints, and sometimes even making do with less equipment. What's the biggest challenge you faced in planning your practices, and how have you overcome it? Drop us a comment below. We'd love to hear your stories and share some tailored tips to help everyone tackle these common issues. Some of the common problems that we run into. Poor player to coach ratio. This happens all the time with parents working. Sometimes your assistant coach doesn't show up. We want to make sure that we can create a plan to where the stations run themselves. You heard us talking about it in the car. What kind of player run stations can we run so that practice keeps moving?
Some other common flaws are not enough equipment and lack of knowledge. We need to make sure that we're prepared with the equipment. And what do we mean by that? Have some different tools, not just a bucket of balls. Make sure you have a batting tee, maybe some cones, maybe some smush balls, wiffle balls, different things that will help you break your team up into stations. And lack of knowledge. Maybe you didn't play the game before, so you're not sure what stations to do. With our pre-made practice plan and our practice plan template, we will help you every step of the way.
One of the biggest struggles that we have is showing up to practice and keeping players engaged. If we've got 12 kids, how do we keep them all engaged and focused at the same time? A big part of that is going out in small groups. If you have 12 guys, break them up into 3 groups of 4 players, keep them moving, keep it fast-paced, and speak in language that they understand. We don't have to overcomplicate things with fancy terminology. We can keep it fun and engaging and also create competitions out of everything, right? Put something on the line to make those kids want to work and want to be the best at the drill that day.
Coaches, we need to make sure that we set the right environment. What do I mean by that? If we want our players to get to practice early, we as coaches have to get there early. If we want our players to have energy, we need to make sure that we are showing energy. Remember, we get to do it. We don't have to do it. So many times coaches will go to practice with no plan. They have no energy and it's like, oh, I gotta go do this. No, we get to do it. We get to inspire and impact kids every single day on the baseball field. And this could be the best part of their day. So you want to make sure you get there early, you have a lot of energy, and you have a game plan. So make sure every practice you set the environment. Goal setting. Make sure you set goals for your practice. Make sure you set goals for your coaches. Make sure you set goals for your players. Give them a little sheet. What do you want to improve on this season? Have them write it down. You know, maybe they want to be a better infielder. Maybe they want to pitch for the first time. Maybe they want to catch. But if they give you their goals, you as a coach can make sure that you try to implement that week by week into your practice plan to make sure it's a successful season.
If you guys like this video and you're interested in seeing our next couple videos, like how to incorporate base running into your practice plans, how to incorporate situational play into your practice plans, and how to incorporate pitchers and catchers, be sure to check out our next videos. Go out and dominate the day.